Upgrades.
Hey guys, this is Natasha with Team JVS. It's finally here, the Wheel of Time Season 2 3-episode premiere. The title of episode 1 is A Taste of Solitude. So I'm going to tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, or was conflicted about, and then the Easter eggs and the book differences that I noticed. That section will be book spoiler heavy. Also, for those leaving comments, please use a spoiler warning if you were talking about the books. Thank you. Please, please, please. So, what did I like about the episode? The fact that the show is back. Like, we have a timeline for how long it's been since Valdora in episode 8. It's been a good 5 or 6 months. Hello, Shirtless Land. Of course, I liked that. You can't go wrong with that. I also like that we are getting more emotion out of Land. He's so used to being connected to Marine's thoughts, and the calm he normally feels is just no longer there. So this helps us explore in another way how important the bond is. I also liked the cold open of the Dark Friend Social. With the yin yang stone statues, theories are abound as to what they represent. I'll delve into more of that later. I think seeing this social from the little girl's perspective was smart as a way to visually see and speculate who could be under those masks. While different, those that watch the show will hopefully have their own theories as to who may be at the table. Padan Fane revealing himself was pretty much, saying to the watcher, this is not a good guy shindig. It's not. When the girl touched the Trolloc, I was creeped out. In a good way, because why am I contemplating now Trollocs having a soul? Like, kudos to them for that. I really like the addition of seeing the colored weaves to represent the different elements. I also like how different Egwene's and Nynaeve's journeys are so far in the White Tower. They both have their own obstacles to overcome to be better. I understood why things happened in episode 8 the way that they did with Nynaeve, and now we are seeing it to come to fruition with her block. The fact that Alanna is a mentor figure to both girls is cool too. Alanna and her warders are getting more screen time, which is definitely a plus. And Alanna and her fruits. I was trying to figure out what fruit she was eating when she was talking with Egwene later on in the episode. I mean, I also almost fell out laughing when Alanna was giving Egwene tips on handling 2 men. She purposefully used those innuendos to get Egwene to lighten up. We got to see brief glimpses of Mat and Rand, which reminded me of where we started with them in book 3. I love the new characters that we got introduced in this episode. I mean, I know them, but I kept on saying, hey boo, every time I saw someone new pop up, especially Varen, because I'm rocking the brown. We got to see a little more of the White Tower, which was cool. I'm hoping that there is another warder practice area outside, because if I recall correctly, there was at least one outside or near one of the gardens. I did like the costuming in this episode. Perrin's outfit, the Shienarans, armor, Leanne and Sheriam's costumes were good too. I like blue. I also love Varen's outfit. Brown Aja, where you at? I also love that what they're doing with Perrin as far as traveling with the Shienarans, searching for the horn. We are glad to see Loyal, aka Brother Book, alive and well. The powers they hinted at is an enhancement and not what I was expecting at all, but in a good way. It was a pleasant surprise, and I hope that they can take this much further. I liked Elias's introduction. Overall, it just makes sense for him to be used as a sniffer or introduced as a sniffer, and the looks he was giving Perrin just had me smirking. Perrin's rage towards Padan Fane and his ties to the 2 rivers since he writes home, I also thought was a nice touch. I will explain more in detail later why I feel the way that I feel about that. The letter he wrote to Egwene and Nynaeve gives us an idea that Perrin has a way with words, which is one of the things I loved about him in the books. I mean, he's just such a sweetheart. Ingtar's intro was interesting. I liked the conversation with Perrin after burying the Dark Friend. Shinoran they found. That conversation felt similar to the convo Matt and Tom had in the first season when they buried the Aiel man. Perrin, Eliel getting Uno riled up reminded me of Perrin, Matt, and Rand poking fun at each other. Perrin's trying to embrace the Tinker peaceful way of life, but he still has this rage and anger that he needs to reconcile. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. I like the overall setup of the characters this season. A few Aes Sedai were of particular interest. If you know, you know. I like the ambiguity we are seeing with Liandrin. She still reminds me of another character that we haven't introduced yet. I really want her to be introduced in season 2. I hope people paid attention to what she told Matt and what she omitted. Look guys, I was initially mad at Liandrin when I saw one of the teasers, but Nynaeve needed that boost to figure out a workaround for her to channel. When she drank that dirty water, girl, you better than me. Nynaeve is nothing if not stubborn and petty. Alana and Maxim dropped some bars when it comes to embracing and fearing the source and really asking herself why she there. And given the context, it makes sense that Nynaeve would practice with the warders, especially when it comes to her block. Plus, there's a reference to it in, I want to say, book 2 or 3. Funny though that Lan and Nynaeve are like the worst kept secret in the series. I mean, come on now. I thought they had more discretion in the books. I love the moments between Bail Domon and Moraine. Great intro to this character. They hinted at a game that Moraine knows how to play very well. I hope the show watchers pay attention to the exposition in those scenes because there are some name drops in there and foreshadowing. The callback to Beltane in episode 1 last season was also a nice touch. The Fab Five all participated in their own way. You get to see how much has changed for the characters since season 1, but you will also see how much they are still at their core to Riverfolk with their sense of home and family. With Matt supposedly free of his connection to the dagger, it makes me understand more why they made the change they did with his parents. I mean, he comes from a home where both of his parents are addicted to something. This dagger represents an addiction. Being in survival mode also justified his need to steal and gamble. Seeing Matt overcome this and the shame of not going with his friends and become the lovable, funny Matt that we know and love in the books will hopefully be more satisfying. Okay, so this is what I didn't like about the episode, or just a little conflicted about. I'm grateful for the longer episode. However, I felt the pacing was a little slow for me. This time we have a cold open, then we see Moraine, we get introduced to new characters as well as catch up with the Fab Five. Then at the tail end, we get a fight scene with Moraine and Lan fighting, this time with a Murdraw. This is almost beat for beat season 1, episode 1. In some ways, great. In others, it's like rinse and repeat. I don't want the episodes to feel redundant, even though different things are happening. While I like some of the wide landscapey location shots that they do, at the same time those shots linger a little too long. I get it, great landscape, but let's pick up the pace a little bit. It was again on par with season 1, episode 1 and 2. Like, they could have started Moraine at the well instead of the sweeping shot, then the well. That was an extra shot that wasn't necessary. I didn't like when Alana and Sheriam were meeting at the courtyard. It just felt weird and not organic. The conversation was fine. Definitely gave us easier Easter eggs for the book readers and exposition for the show watchers. But the location and the feel of it just wasn't it. It was way too reminiscent of the meeting at the hall in episode 6 with the formality. Like, why couldn't they all just casually walk in the garden, or if they wanted a formal meeting, use one of the smaller rooms in the tower? It was nice weather, although I'll give them that. You had Aes Sedai there just standing there looking pretty. There were yellow sisters there. They should have spoken up considering they have a vested interest in Nynaeve. This could also give us more exposition on the different Ajas and not just the ones that we've already met and know. I was also getting frustrated with Moraine this episode because she was just making the same mistakes as last season, especially in episode 8 when she's not communicating with Lan. She did it again by going off on her own, and then she got caught by the Murdral. I did like the line that Thomas dropped about not forcing but listening quietly for her to open up. It's understandable that Moraine is trying to protect Lan, but it's one of those things where they are better together. Like, come on, man. And unfortunately, this is not part of the books. I mean, let's be for real. I am on the fence about the fight scene with the Murdral. Fight scenes shot in the dark always make me leery because of the lighting. I liked how Moraine killed one of them. I like the choreography of the overall scene. I also like the play of the shadows because it did build up the tension. The camera shot of Varen using the one power was different than the other camera shots from that scene, so that was weird. I also was very frustrated about Lan getting his butt kicked over the two Murdral. The Lan that I know could have handled at least 2 at once. If they had used 3 or 4 on him at the same time, then yes, which is what they did. Him getting cut up makes way more sense. And then Varen or Thomas will come up with the assist. His water ability is his water ability affected because Moraine can't channel? Is this that concept that will be explained more in depth as far as how Aes Sedai bond with their waters and how it could be tied to the one power? I mean, I need answers. I also thought this was a nice contrast to how in sync and in tune Lan and Moraine were in the premiere episode versus now. Another thing I didn't like is that I felt like in some cases they were retconning. For example, when the Shienarans found the Dark Friend and it was assumed that he let Padan Fain in to the castle, maybe there was another layer of getting into the palace that we didn't see other than the 2 women getting murdered by the Murdral in episode 8. It's like they pulled from the books but forgot what they did in episode 8. Also, are we ever going to see how Padan Fain got the dagger? I mean, we can make assumptions here, but I want to see it. Overall, I do think this was a solid start to the second season, but I do have some concerns about some of the writing hitting a brick wall or just being stuck in a corner. Now we're diving into the books. Fair warning, for those that have not read the books at all nor finished the series, please exit now. Make sure you watch my reviews for the later episodes as they air. Final warning. Good? Cool. Yeah, there was plenty of foreshadowing in this episode alone, from Egwene, so they'll be looking at the Amaryllis Sea's outfit because we know she's gonna become Amaryllis Sea, to the Dark Social, to the Circle Stones possibly representing each of the Forsaken, Ishamael revealing himself as one of the Chosen, Elias and Perrin, of course, Bael Doma mentioning the Sea Folk, seems to imply that we may be getting the Bowl of the Winds arc. Let's talk a little bit more about the Dark Social. The stones were a nice touch with the different symbols, including the yin yang. The one on the ground, my guess, represented Ishi coming out or Lanfear. I'm just not sure which one. Also, I just realized that the Heartstone Bael Domon found was near Carian, so the social took place around there. The poem written in blood, was that Lanfear? Was that the Trollocs at the house? That would tie into Fane's escape in the Great Hunt. No wonder the Fates were after Domon. I love Ferris portraying as Ishi. He's charming but creepy at the same time. We're getting sane Ishi right now. My guess is the Shienoran is Ingtar. Was it just me, or was Ingtar's combo with Perrin a little heavy-handed on the foreshadowing? If I'm a show watcher, my antenna would be up. Lady Sarath was obviously at the social. There was also a White Cloak. I'm wondering if we're getting Bors as a character, or if he'll be replaced by one of the other White Cloaks like Dale Bornhold. I do think we need to keep Valda as an evil prick, but not as a dark friend. I also noticed the different symbols on the stones out front. One was definitely Moghedien, one looked like a guitar, so we may still get Asmodean. I don't know for sure if Logain can also be Asmodean, or if he's at the starting point, and then Asmodean will be brought in later to teach Ran. Another symbol looked like a bee, which could mean Samael. I mean, real talk, half the male Forsaken could be condensed into one character because they were all hating on Luz Theron. However, if we got at minimum Demon Druid and they make his story better, I would be happy. I'm still on the fence about who was the Aes Sedai at the social. It could be anyone. Sheriam, Varen, heck, even Leandrin. It's hard to know at this point. I mean, the obvious would be Leandrin because of what she does later. I mean, the Tinker, again, no clue. Let me know your theories in the comments. Did anyone catch the subtle look that Sharon and Leandrin gave each other when they were talking about Nynaeve? I also thought it was a nice callback for Alana describing the flower to get Nynaeve to channel. Nice throwback there. I also think that was a euphemism because Alana's mind just be staying dirty. Speaking of Nynaeve, I did think it was a good thing Leandrin showed the concept of shielding because I feel like they are hinting that that's what Marine is dealing with and not necessarily the fact that she's been stilled. It also plays in later when she heals Logain and her fight with Mogideon. I also appreciated the subtle jealousy that Egwene has for Nynaeve because that does explain some of the actions that she does later in the dream world. I mean, that was messed up what she did to her. I also liked her arc as far as wanting to perfect things, her being a sponge for knowledge and moving faster than she should be doing. Again, on par with Egwene's character. I am hoping we get Egwene dreaming because we need to start slowly introducing the dream world. Perrin writing to family at the Two Rivers as well as Nynaeve and Egwene solidifies this tie to their home village, foreshadowing book 4. I think that's a good thing, as well as his anger towards Padan Fain, because in the books Padan Fain was petty, trying to get revenge on Rand by sending the White Cloaks to the Two Rivers. There's even more levity now that Perrin has personal beef with Fain, since Fain sent the Trollocs to the Two Rivers, which resulted in Layla's death. I also think this is an interesting parallel between Perrin and Mat. Right now, they're dealing with their similar issues. Perrin has, anger issues, whereas Mat has an addiction with the dagger. Fain is the connecting link, so that's good. I also think Mat's mistrust of Aes Sedai and the One Power has been confirmedly activated due to Moiraine's and Leandrin's manipulations. The amulet is going to come in handy. I can't wait for that. I'm on the fence about Varen and Adelaide being sisters. I'm concerned because of Varen's motivation to be a double agent for the Black Aja. I'm hoping that they still keep her original reason, which was wanting to study them, and not just use the death of Adelaide to have her want revenge. I also think that Nynaeve practicing with the warders, this really isn't anything new. Her trying to fight with the warders is just another way for her to use it as an escape for her not being able to channel easily. I probably mentioned that already, my bad. I also love the news shared in the Sheriam and Ilana garden scene. Saldea was mentioned, as well as another false dragon. That has to mean Taim, right? I do think spending more time with Ilana and her warders makes us more invested in her character, especially what she does later with Rand. I mean, seeing Maxim and Ivan will make us feel Alana's pain more when she loses one of them, or she could lose both. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. I don't know if the show watchers are gonna pick up on it that Leandra lied. She mentioned that Mat wasn't in the letter. Perrin mentioned Mat briefly at the tail end. Even though she seems to care about Nynaeve, her own agenda is still in operation. With Leandrin and her motivations, I'm just wondering what is the end goal here other than the obvious. I mean, is she trying to turn Nynaeve into the dark, follow through on sending her to the Sanchin, or is she conflicted at least? What is a better way to eliminate a powerful person than to sell them to the highest bidder, especially if that bidder is someone also working for the Dark One? Did anyone notice at the meeting with Leandrin, Sheriam, and Alana that there was a dark yellow sister, and I'm wondering if she is the same yellow sister that gets captured by the Sanchin and becomes Damani. who knows? But I thought that was an interesting move there, if that is the same woman. So those are my thoughts of this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell button so you'll know when Team JVS drops new content. I will definitely be reviewing each episode for season 2. Let me know in the comments what you hope to see this season. Again, if you are going to include book spoilers, please put a spoiler warning. I would really appreciate it. Thanks guys. Bye.
Falling out the top of the moon. I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing